I am Dungeon Master, your guide in the realm of Dungeons and Dragons.
All right, welcome back, everybody, for another Valoris Tantibus Afterdark. Session 12, Common Ground. When last we left our party, Chardelin's wrath knew no bounds. It was razing the city, leaving nothing but fire, ash, and sorrow in its wake. The party was able to bolster enough support throughout the city, including Zendra, to help drive back the party. A three-pronged attack. Procure Zendra, distract the dragon, and one striking directly at the heart of the matter. A lot was lost. We find our party at a bit of a crossroads. Last thing they heard was a loud bang as a shot rifled through the streets, piercing into Kiev. Half of their companions raced after the shot. But let's pick up with our party here on the streets. All right, you guys have the floor. Kiev just collapses over. Zendra is able to catch Kiev in her arms. She immediately goes to work. You see the bluish-white glow of magic start to filter off her fingertips. What do you guys do?
It's not enough for a dragon to raise half the city. People will finish the job for him.
Yes, it seems there's no end to people who will take advantage of chaos wherever it may rear its ugly head.
Zendra seems preoccupied as she's holding on to Kiev. A few moments pass. You can see she's become rather weak as she's exhausted a lot of her energies. However, you do see the gentle rise and fall of Kiev's chest. Seems she has done quite a bit to bandage up the wound, so to speak. Close it the best that she can. Go ahead.
It looks like the others are gonna do their part to try and catch the villain. Maybe we should look at getting people into safety. And I'm sure the circus could use our help.
All right, as you guys kind of look around, you can see several buildings in the area are kind of burning, starting to tumble. Why don't you guys just let's do a group perception check. Let's see what's going on. Okay. A little bit of oof, but overall not too bad. You guys kind of look about the city. You see several people starting to file out of one of the kind of a larger merchant style building. You're not sure if it was sundries or what. It has quickly gone up into flame. You can see about a half dozen people start to run out. One of the pillars holding up the awning there on the front looks like and you hear a snap. It starts to kind of bend to one side. It is not going to last much longer when a woman yells, "My daughter!" What do you do?
Caspian will grab Faylee by the scruff of her neck and start running towards the building.
Alrighty. It's going to be a little bit of theater of the mind, so bear with me. The rest of you guys going?
Is there any sources of water nearby?
you kind of look over. There happens to be a big water trough. Looks like there's I don't know the particular term for it, but kind of a mounting post for where horses would gather in front of the store. It's full of, animal spittle and the like, but it's a large trough. It has some water.
I am going to polymorph into a giant ape and rush over to grab that pillar and try to keep it from snapping altogether.
Okay. Strength or athletics if you have it.
Okay, let me just double check their stats real quick. Ooh, that's a natural one regardless.
It begins to buckle and break. Let's see what happens. Oh, is that a 20?
Sure looks like it.
All right. Well, this is precarious. Let's do... That's a decent sized pillar. Do some damage here. Oh, you'll take 12 points of damage as the pillar, you're holding it and it just goes. It's too fast, it's too heavy, and there's very little that you can do. You try to brace it, but the pillar comes crushing down on you, pinning you to the ground. 12 points of damage. Obviously, the rest of you hear this. The townspeople outside, although they're running kind of to avoid the fiery mass, are just...
When they get there, Caspian will say, "Phaley, try and get the girl. You're quicker than me." And he'll kind of like toss her forward, and then he'll just work on casting a shitload of them.
Fine.
Trying to put out as much of the fire as he can to make a path for her.
Okay. As you start to spread the fire, the smoke is what was truly kind of annoying to Phaley. She kind of covers her eyes a little bit and rushes through. Make me a perception check, but this is going to be at a disadvantage, Phaley. Ouch.
Yikes.
So we're on a roll tonight.
Oh, look, a chicken.
Yeah, you guys' rolls are just...
I'm so short, all the smoke is in my face.
Pretty much, yeah. It's just... You're looking around. You can't see anything. You can hear outside. Oh my God! You have to find her! You have to find her! This woman is just kind of going hysterical as a couple other people are looking over. They see this pillar kind of trapping this large ape to the ground. They don't know what to make of that. The cleric is just kind of scratching his beard, looking at this trough.
Could I use Call Lightning to summon a storm? And maybe the rain help control the fire?
Throw down the card. I don't think so, but it's worth checking here. Let's see.
It does say a storm cloud appeared.
What spell level was this? Third level. Okay. It doesn't say that it calls down water. In this instance, because it's not doing damage, I would say that you could give up the damage. I mean, it's not going to be a miracle, but it does have a good 60-foot radius, so that's at least something.
Yeah.
10 feet tall. I will allow it if you want to.
Okay, I'm going to call lightning then.
Okay.
Try and help control this
So
out of control fire.
Valderin grabs a hold of his holy implement, and kind of the smoke starts to swirl around in the skies. At least it looked like smoke as it starts to get a little thicker and forming clouds as it kind of stretches over this building. You hear the crash of thunder. Lightning does not appear as it just kind of releases what stored up precipitation it has as it pours down on this roof, slowing the burning building. I call lightning for peace.
Call lightning. Lightning comes down and starts
Summer
making bigger
Michigan storm. That is at least something. Phaley, you're kind of looking around. It is hot in here. We're just gonna do a little bit of. Make me a Constitution check. Save, rather. The smoke is just, it's so prolific in this building. It's really hard. You can hear "Don't hurt me," the voice says. The little girl says.
How far off does she sound?
Maybe it's hard to tell. Again, the fire is crackling around you. 20, 30 feet, maybe in a different room. It's hard to tell. The smoke is just everywhere. You're coughing.
At some point, I'd like to attempt to unpin myself.
Yeah,
so
go
I
right
can
ahead.
Go in and help.
Yeah, we're kind of in a loosey-goosey time, so if you guys want to do something, just kind of speak up. Go ahead and make me another athletics check. You do have a couple people helping you, so why you're not getting disadvantage.
And that would be a +9 instead of a +4.
So additional 5. Okay, so you're able to get part of it out. You got like at least half of your body unpinned, so to speak. Like one of your legs is now free that you can kind of use to leverage it up. There are also other people, a couple people that have come over to assist. It's an odd sight seeing such a large. You did say gorilla, right? An ape.
Yes.
Yeah, an ape being pinned, but some of them, I guess, were a little braver than they were wise. Bailey, make me one more perception. Because of all the smoke and everything, I want you to roll at a disadvantage. I want to see if you roll another one. It's not the worst, but as you kind of look around, you don't see where that voice is coming from. The smoke is just too much. You do hear a couple strange things. First, you hear the cracking from the roof and falling debris. Second, you hear the sound of, I don't know, it's like a jangling sound, like metal kind of clanking to the floor, but a lot of metal.
Does it sound as far away as the girl's voice?
Roughly, again, the fire is cracking all around you. The smoke has got you discombobulated. You think it's somewhere in that same vicinity. A few moments later, something bumps into you. What do? What's your first reaction?
Move away.
As you kind of something hits you and you kind of sidestep and you hear, what was that? It's definitely a little girl's voice.
Okay, I'll try to go back over and grab her, like by her shirt or something.
Okay. When you do that, I want you to make me a dexterity save. Vic, make me a athletics check. You can roll it at advantage now as you've got proper footing and you've got people assisting you.
So that'd be a 19.
Okay. You're able to kind of lift the rest of this off of you. Back to Phaley. You're able to dodge as part of the roof starts to come down. Everybody outside, you know Phaley's been in there for several minutes and has not returned. In kind of split focus with everything going on with the ape and Volderin summoning a rain cloud to do the best that he can. But Phaley's been in there for several minutes. Phaley, you kind of quickly move out of the side. You grab hold of the girl as you kind of tumble away as a big beam, kind of a fiery beam strikes against the floor. I want you to make a perception at disadvantage and also a constitution save. Okay. Not bad for it. You're able to find a pocket of fresh air to kind of breathe in as you've been kind of coughing up this smoke. And as you're able to do so, you kind of look over just in a small pocket where that beam fell. It kind of cleared just enough of a path where you could kind of see into another room. You see another person. Kind of a small, it's hard to tell if it's another child over there. You can just see the kind of the top of their hair. They seem to be pinned down by a piece of debris over in the other room. You do know that you've been in here a long time, even with your hardy kind of constitution. If you stay in here much longer, it's going to become very difficult to breathe. You don't know how this girl is able to survive just from breathing in all the smoke so far. So think about what you want to do. What are the rest of you guys doing?
As soon as I got unpinned, I was going in to try to find Phaley and the child.
Okay.
Baldwin's still concentrating on keeping his rain cloud up and
Okay.
Say Caspian he's trying to help Volderin deal with the fire in his way.
Okay.
But if Phaley has been gone a while, he probably would have asked Kaladin, to use his elf eyes and go try and find her and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, Kaden will actually cast Long Strider at 2nd level on himself and Volderin.
Okay.
Get extra 10 feet of movement
Nice.
for an hour. And then, I'll head over towards and try and help Bailey out.
As you move in, the first thing I want you to do is make a perception check. And I know you're smart enough to take a deep breath before you go in.
Yep. Just straight perception.
Yeah, just a perception check. We'll see kind of what. Oh yeah. So as you kind of gaze through, you can quickly kind of sift through the smoke. You can see Phaley kind of. She has a hold of this kind of small girl, though. Just by proportions, they're about the same height. The girl maybe just a few inches shorter. You can kind of see them, and they're kind of skirting around as some of the debris from the roof is kind of collapsing down. You do see in the other room, it looks like there's another person. You can hear a very faint, just a... Oh, and you, of course, hear the big ape kind of scrunching down and pulling in through the door frame behind you. What would you guys like to do?
I'll motion to Vic where Faylee is and the girl, and also to where the other person is in the other room.
Okay, you convey that.
And having had it pointed out to me, would I see the other person and the whatever it is, the rubble that's on top of them?
Does the ape provide you with any sort of innate perception bonuses? Probably not.
It does have perception skill.
Okay, so roll your perception skill. Because Kaladin is pointing things out, you may roll at advantage.
Okay. Good thing.
Yeah, not too bad. As you kind of look over, you can kind of see, looks like maybe a small child is kind of collapsed there in the other room. You can't tell. It looks like there's bags of sundries around him. Part of the counter is starting to catch fire from the debris that has fallen down.
I feel like my giant ape strength will be more use there than just leading Faylee out, so I will go ahead and move past them to try to help this other child.
Okay, so you move to the other child. Kaladin, you're going to assist with Faylee?
Yeah, I'll help Faylee get out and then head back in to help with Vic.
So, Kaladin, Faylee's group, you guys are going to be able to kind of get through. You guys are farther out of the building. Most of the danger is in kind of that other room. Ape Man, Ape Woman, as you kind of move through the debris, I do want you to make me one dexterity save.
Okay.
Oof.
Ooh. And it wouldn't even be that good either, because I don't think their dex would be anywhere near that high.
So a large piece kind of falls from the ceiling and it strikes into you. It was a very large thing. I want you... So you didn't make the save. You're not necessarily pinned by this, but it is large. It's burning. Does a lot of damage. 17 points.
Right, and I forgot to do this last time. I need to make a con save for concentration.
Yeah, this one's going to be the... Oh, nice roll.
Oh. Easily handled.
Yeah, we'll bypass that other one.
20 tonight.
You guys are either rolling 1s or 20s. It's the oddest thing.
Yeah. This feels like roll 20s RNG.
It really does. So you get hit by that. You kind of get sent kind of reeling just a few paces. You look down and you see this kind of small child, a few bags of sundries around them. You can kind of see him cough, the smoke kind of rolling off his large beard.
Well then, clearly that is a very mature child.
It is not a child. It's kind of hard to see. You think it's a gnome. You're not sure. What would you like to do? You know if you stay in here much longer, this entire place is going to collapse. Your friends are doing what they can to keep this building up, but it's just not in the cards.
Well, they don't have terrible intelligence. They've got a 7, which is a lot better than most beasts, so... I think the reasoning would be step 1, get them out from underneath the shit that they're buried under, and step 2, just punch a hole through the nearest wall and try to get out.
Okay. They're pinned. The problem is they're mostly just kind of concussed. You don't think what's on them is truly pinning them down, so it should be a pretty simple athletics check.
Okay. Assuming we don't get another natural 1 here.
Well, you got a +9, so... Yeah, you can very easily move that aside because it's a small gnome. They don't weigh hardly anything. You can scoop him up if you wish.
I will do so and attempt to make my way out as expediently as possible through the nearest wall.
All right, I want to do one thing real quick. Let's see how... Yeah. One more dex. As the front of the back. Okay, 16, not too bad.
And that
As-
would actually only be a 9, because they don't have proficiency in dex saves, and they only have a +2.
So your total is a 9. Okay. So,
I don't know if saves carry over for polymorph.
well, ultimately it's
It would
just going
still
to
only be a +2. It's just a matter of if I had proficiency.
ultimately
or not.
this is just going to flavor things. I don't think it's super pertinent, but if anybody wants to look that up, they absolutely can. So as you're kind of moving, everybody outside, you can hear that creaking and crack as the center of the building gives way. And once that happens, the rigidity of the whole building just it's not strong enough to hold as the walls just start to kind of cave in on themselves. You can see this lumbering mass, something kind of cradled up under its arm and kind of moving across as it gets very close to the door frame. More of the building starts to collapse, and it holds its arm up, kind of shielding itself from some of the damage. With a 9, you are going to take full 13 points of damage as it kind of crashes on you, breaks around. Some of your fur is starting to singe at this point, but you and the child presumably make it out safe. I don't know how your hit points are versus polymorph.
They start with like 150, so I'm doing.
Oh yeah,
all right.
you're fine. You get this bearded child to safety. Phelan and Kaladin were able to get the other young girl out. The mother.
But I do drop form.
Oh, she kind of poof back as you guys both kind of collapse. For comedic effect, I imagine you just kind of trip and like one of your arms just kind of goes into the trough there.
Nice.
Just kind of splashes up your arm. Kind of this gnome that was in your other arm, just too large for you to hold on to now, just kind of flumps to the ground. People are starting to calm down. The woman is incredibly elated that her daughter is safe. She, of course, promises you the world. She's trying to give you guys her address so you guys can come over and share a meal. There's just so much going on. And then you guys recognize who the gnome is. Very out of place. It is the professor.
Dr. Zekel.
Professor Zekel. Dr.
And-
Zekel.
We're definitely pretty far from the noble district, right?
Yes, you guys are kind of in the city proper. The middle
Are we
class.
near any banks?
Actually, didn't you see a bunch of large sacks?
No, I didn't, but somebody. Oh no, they were on top of them, weren't they?
They were large bags of what appears to be sundries.
Well, I wonder what could have chased the professor all the way down from the noble district.
He seems to be unconscious at the moment. If you guys had something or enough time, perhaps you could rouse him from his sleep. Actually, if anybody wants to make a medicine check, they can. Assuming you're proficient in it.
I do have Jack of all trades.
Yeah, that's good enough for me. Bard can always roll on everything because Bard. I don't know if our cleric is or not.
I am.
Can also cure wounds at first level.
Okay. All right, so you cast Cure Wounds. Will help definitely a little bit. If you want to roll me the dice total, see what they get back. So 5. Vic, you kind of examine. For some reason, you're good with humanoid bodies. For some reason, I can't figure out why.
Huh.
Physiology. Is it physiology? Is that right?
Yeah.
Right word? Kind of examine. You can see the kind of the large bruising and knotting on the head. You can see that this gnome definitely is suffering a concussion. He kind of stirs a little bit after the little bit of healing. Where am I?
Not dead, for starters.
Kind of sits up very quickly. The dragon!
It's long gone, my tiny friend.
You can see him
Yes,
rub
you
his
picked
head.
a hell of a time for an excursion.
You're telling me? I don't remember what happened.
Well, Professor, I'm afraid we don't have time to escort you to your home right now, but we'll try and gather up as many injured as we can at the circus if you'll come with us.
The circus? No. He kind of looks around and you can see kind of lights dance in his eyes, literally as the fire is kind of reflecting off his pupils. I got my estate, my things, and he tries to kind of stand up, but he's concussed and kind of reels over to one side and kind of catches himself with one hand. It buckles under the weight as he kind of collapses back down.
I promise you, whatever damage the dragon has done, if it has destroyed your home, there's nothing left for it, and if it hasn't, it will be there when you get there. You can take the time to rest for now.
Yeah, I think I'll just rest. He kind of closes his eyes and sets his head down on a comfy rock.
Don't let him fall asleep. Don't let him fall asleep.
I don't think that's wise.
It's not a good idea.
Somebody try to
With
rouse
a
him.
roll of 16, do I have enough medical sense to know that that's a bad idea?
You would have the general knowledge of what a concussion is and the typical things that go with it. So yeah, it's generally not best to rest under such a thing.
I'll just reach into the trough and grab some water to splash on his face.
Kind of.
Not here. When we get to the circus, perhaps we'll get your head looked at.
I'm fine. I can walk. He tries to kind of stand up and he kind of shifts over to the left about 4 paces and back to the right about 2. He kind of grabs his temples. Oh. Fine. Let's get out of here.
Well, Durin, see to the man, would you?
Will do. Durin will assist the tiny gnome and make sure he stays awake the entire trip.
Caspian will dust soot off of Phaley's shoulders and then probably lift her on her shoulder.
Awesome. You guys headed back to the circus?
Yeah, probably with an eye for other small people we can help and direct towards the.
Okay. Definitely noted. As you guys start to march, and during this you will notice that Zendra and at least the body of Kiev is kind of gone. But you guys make it back to the circus, helping out those whom you can. But something strange is happening in the city. You see a lot of these people they kind of look at you in a way that you guys are used to being stared at, being gawked at, almost like silently judged, whether good or bad, but mostly for entertainment. But you see these people looking at you in a very different light. They almost... Could it be that they're almost looking up to you guys? You make it to the circus. And this is where it really hits home. This portion of the city was hit hard. Only one of the tents remain. The rest are just... what little cloth is left is just kind of hanging from the poles. You can see burnt crates, burnt stands. Just the smell of burnt... some of the foods... the fire was so hot. You smell that kind of smell of burnt corn kind of permeating about. You see a lot of your family kind of sitting there sulking as you guys come back to town, or back home.
I'm immediately doing a head count.
Okay. Vic goes about. You make an announcement that that's what you're doing, or you just leave?
Yeah, I would say I'm gonna make sure everybody's accounted for.
Okay.
Valdurin's gonna go get the gnome situated and start tending to some other people that are also hurt.
All right. You just gonna find a quiet corner? Where are you looking to get him situated? In the one remaining tent?
Yeah, he's gonna try and commandeer that as a medical tent.
Okay. As you move over into that tent, you can see a lot of people have taken refuge here. Not just the circus folk, but several of the townsfolk as well. You can see they've kind of set up small stations. They're serving what little food that they have, mostly kind of soups and gruels at this point. A bit of kind of dried sundries. And you can see another station has been kind of set up for what little medical supplies that they have, bandages and the sort. They're applying just kind of these salves to kind of some burnt skin. Some people really got the raw end of the deal. But as circus folk do, I mean, they banded together and they're just trying to do what they can to help. You set the gnome down in a small kind of seated area, and you kind of look at him. You can see that he is just sweating profusely. Like he was... You know that he was in the middle of that burning building. But that has been quite some time as you traverse the city. He is just sweating. You can see it kind of pooling up under his tunic, kind of armpits, and around his neck.
Can I try and deduce why he's sweating profuse?
Insight.
Insight. Oh, thank you.
I would let you make a medicine check, but you're not proficient.
I am proficient in medicine.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
I thought you were
Medicine and
not.
insight.
So as you kind of look him over, I'm going to add in a little bit of medicine since you are trained in it. A concussion... You don't think that a concussion would cause this. And he's been too far away from the excessive heat to be building like this. You can see fresh kind of perspiration all around him. Something is not right with him, but you're unsure as to why. He seems to be around. You could probably talk to him if you wish.
Baldwin's gonna snap his fingers in front of his eyes and try and get his attention. Just be like, do you know where you are?
He kind of looks up at you. He looks around. The circus?
Okay, that's good. Can you tell me your name?
You know damn well I know my name.
I know your name. I need to make sure that you can recall your name.
It's Heed. No. Zekul.
Okay. So it seems you're sweating quite profusely, and I'm having trouble trying to figure out what is the cause of it. It's clearly not the concussion. Did you ingest anything before?
No, but I could use some water.
I can get you some water.
Is it after midnight?
Do you have vodka?
Probably not the best choice for this situation. But I will get you some water.
Okay, thanks.
Need you to stay awake. I will be gone for like 2 seconds.
I'm fine. All right, you step away for 2 seconds.
Before Valdurin leaves, he's gonna see if he can get someone to watch after the gnome while he procures water.
Okay. You kind of look around and you find somebody. Take a few moments to convince them. They're like, yeah, I'll do it for a nib.
How's a nib?
That's a copper.
Oh, fine. Give him a copper.
Okay, yeah, he is like, fine. What a jerk. Definitely not a circus folk.
Yeah.
But I'm curious what the rest of you are doing. Vic, I know what you're doing. You're going around trying to get a head count. Thus far, it's not looking the greatest.
Well, if I start figuring out that there's going to be some people we've lost, I'll also try to sift through the rubble and begin the grim task of recovering bodies.
You can see that several of your coworkers, family, have thought a similar thing. You can see a couple of the strong men that kind of perform and kind of the freak show there have been moving a few heavy objects, some bodies. They've got a small pile started. It seems like they've kind of commandeered one of the places. They're setting the bodies very next to a kind of a small, what remains of a small burnt building. You can see about 3 stacked high.
Just sigh and, without saying anything, just join in helping.
Yeah, they give you that kind of silent nod.
It was my intention, if Faye is agreeable, that Caspi and her were going to go around and just try and lead any survivors towards the circuit.
Oh, like near kind of the perimeter?
Yeah, like basically trying to have that be like the community meeting place and help people with small problems.
Okay.
Put out fires for once instead of starting them.
Reverse fire mage.
Well, they do say that you can fight fire with fire.
I'm gonna try.
That's awesome. I don't have that song queued.
This time I didn't start the fire.
No. This is gonna end bad. Switching subjects. Let's get back to maybe Valdurin here. You go get a glass of water from the line, head back over. You can see the kind of the younger gentleman that you left the professor with. They're in a bit of a conversation, a very one-sided conversation. You walk over and you hear the young man, "Oh, you don't look so good. Like, we should find you a doctor." He sees the dwarf coming back. "He doesn't look good, man."
I know that. I'm trying to apply aid and figure out what the source of his ailment is.
Yeah, I'm gonna go find a doctor.
That would be much appreciated. I'll keep him alive until you get back.
Yeah, I'll be right back. Insight.
Oh god. Well, it's a good thing Baldurin is great at calling out people's bullshit.
You know damn well that he is not coming back.
Vultures.
Basically. It is. It probably just chills your heart a little bit to find somebody that would capitalize and prey on the unfortunate. But that's not your concern right now. The concern that you have is this odd, almost silver droplets of perspiration kind of dripping down this gnome's forehead.
Baldurin will give the water that he found to him. He'll tell him to drink up.
He grabs the partial tankard that you brought over. They didn't have much in the way of like fancy formal wear. He just kind of slams it down. He wipes his hand and you can see almost a silvery streak across his forehead, almost like it was, I don't know, some sort of paint.
Question: When Vic looked him over, did he give him like a full body search to look for any wounds or anything?
Well, no.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to check his orifices.
I'm not checking his orifices. I'm saying if they're like if he might have been impaled by something and an infection is started.
So there was nothing visible that you saw, no broken bones. You would have done kind of a cursory scan.
Okay.
But
Okay.
like, would you have removed all of his garments to find like hidden? Probably not.
Okay. Voldurin will ask.
Okay. I'll ask you again. Did you ingest anything strange before the whole dragon situation that might explain this rampant perspiration that you have going on?
You can see him you can see his eyes kind of teeter left and right, almost like they're shaking very slowly in his skull, like he's deep in concentration. Drink. You can see him he throws the tankard and starts reaching around in his pockets, and you can see him reach deep into one, and he pulls out what appears to be a vial, at least what was a vial. You can see the kind of the shards sticking into his hands as he pulls it out, and he looks at you. I gotta get back. And he starts to stand up as he kind of wobbles back and forth.
You're in no condition to be going anywhere. Now get your ass back in the chair.
Fine. Did you bring me that water?
I did, and you threw it.
I'm so thirsty.
Not wanting to make the trip.
I want you to make an
trek
insight
again.
at disadvantage.
Okay.
Okay, not a bad roll. I don't know if you noticed there. How would you typically describe his voice?
Kind of, I guess, the high pitched, a little nasally.
How was that last conversation with them?
A little aggressive, slightly deeper.
Okay. We'll kind of flip back. Vic, while this is going on, it's been more than just a couple seconds, right? You know, Volderin's probably been taking care of him somewhere in the neighborhood of 15, 30 minutes. We're kind of rolling into this hour-ish mark. Vic, you would estimate, just from your findings here, initially it looked pretty grave, but most of the people you can account for as they're kind of assisting in the main tents, though there are a few people that are kind of moving across the city trying to find provisions that they can. Rough estimates say that 20-30% lost, which is a lot, but considering just how mighty a Chardalin is, those who survived are pretty
and that
fortunate.
we were all in tents here, which is like the
Worst, yeah.
structure versus a fire-breathing creature.
Yeah, the only thing worse I could think is a gunpowder mine.
Yeah, we're lucky we didn't have any of those in the city.
Caspian, Phaley, as you guys are kind of moving about helping people, you let them know that, you know, the circus has some places set up to assist, and you're able to get quite a few people, at least everyone in immediate danger that you can find, and then even a little bit of kind of going out of your way, maybe searching, and at least knocking on a few homes and that sort of thing.
Out of character, I'm regretting that now.
Why is that?
He's probably about to go bonkers and destroy the circus.
You wouldn't know that. What's wrong with the professor?
Nothing at all. Totally out of character comp.
Yeah. See? It's fine. His name literally means nothing.
You're in this deep and you've been double faking the whole time.
This was one of the first, so when I was planning Afterdark, this was one of the first concepts that I had. I kind of wanted to play up a little bit of that kind of European tropey aspect, and I was like, this is a little on the nose. Yeah, they'll never get it.
And you were right.
Because I was like, you guys will be so concerned with Sunny that you won't see the forest for the trees.
Ironically, then you doubted yourself and expected us to go after him, and then we surprised you by checking in on Sunny.
Yeah. All right, so I've kind of described. Kaladin, what are you kind of doing here in the meanwhile?
Kayla would have just been like moving around the tent, making sure everyone's fine, keeping everyone calm, just helping out where he could.
Okay. All right, so Volderin, you went back to get more water.
Yeah.
You come back. You obviously didn't take the time to find somebody to look after your gnomish companion here, and you can see him just kind of, he's seated, but he's in that kind of rocking position. He's got his arms kind of wrapped around his kneecaps as he's kind of rocking back and forth, and you can just see the gleam on his skin.
You're looking worse and worse every second. Here, drink this, and if you throw it, I will summon a mighty deluge.
It's fine. He kind of grabs the tankard and just slams it back. Water. I need more water.
My God. Like a camel.
Camels exist, right? That's not.
No. Master Dwarf, I have to get back to my estate. It's of the utmost, and he kind of looks off to the right. Just stops mid-sentence. And looks back at you. I need more water.
My God, you can really put it away.
It's so funny. He's so confused.
We're not near the pier or lake bed at all, are we?
So,
'Cause I
from
would
the
flood this
docks,
place.
you are basically at the furthest point,
Okay.
if there could be such a place. The docks are on the west side. You guys are on the very far east side of the city.
Okay. I was very, very tempted to see if I could just drop a massive amount of water on top of them.
You do have that thunder spell. Lightning.
Oh. This time, Baldurin will pull out his personal stash of water and give that to him to drink. One of his water skins.
All right, and he grabs it, and as he's just kind of just gulping it down as quickly as he can, you can see on the outside, kind of that churled tannish sort of skin that's on the outside. You can see there's just that smear of silver across it. I'm so thirsty. I gotta get back. And he kind of stands up. And you can see something is different about him. His shirt and his tunic, his pants are just, it's not even the moisture. It's how small the clothing is on him now. It's almost like it shrunk.
Really putting on the water weight there.
He's transforming into a camel. Oh my God.
I've done it!
He's so bad. So bad. No, Master Dwarf. I don't think you understand. And as you're kind of talking to him there, something kind of hits you in the chest. And you can see his tunic is now a V-neck tunic. It's one of the buttons have burst off.
Concerned Baldurin is going to start
Volterin is so
try and move people out of the vicinity because something not right is happening.
You were so
Scatter
confused.
people.
Everybody get out!
Oh my God. The people kind of look at you and not quite understanding what is going on.
I like how the solution is get everyone else out of the tent rather than him.
You'll cast thaumaturgy, make it louder.
Everybody get out!
It's fine. Let's do some of this. I'm gonna share a map with you guys. Yeah. A little bit of map. Put you guys just kind of down here. It'll be okay. And kind of the gnome is looking at you, and you really should have gotten me that
drink.
His muscles begin to swell. What was once silver starts to grow over in greenish hair. He starts to swollify and get big, about 22 foot tall big. He looks down at you and says,
Let's take a 10-minute break. Be right back.
all right, let's take a quick break. See you guys in a bit. And then we're going to roll some initiatives. All right, I'm
the,
back.
The typical Coke bottle glasses.
Oh, yes.
Nice.
Is this good battle music?
I like it.
It
Definitely sets the mood for all the dead people outside.
Oh.
So I do have an important question for you before we get started.
What's
Catherine.
that?
Back in the tomb, I was a little unclear on whether or not we actually did get Sobe's weapon, or if that became the sword.
It became the sword.
Okay, just wanted to double check on that.
Mm-hmm. No, it's a very good question. Thoughts and memories can be a very powerful thing. All right.
I still gonna headbutt to the face, but
Oh, yeah. I think everybody's here? Yes?
Yep.
All right. Well, let's... We should probably set something a little more tone appropriate. Let's go ahead and roll initiatives.
You should have taken me back to the streets.
He stares at you, Valderin. Let me roll my initiative, too. What is my dex? Okay. Not dead last. Set a little bit of the mood here as Kaladin, you can hear this booming voice coming from inside the tent. People are just kind of shrieking and gawking and making all sorts of kind of panicked sounds coming from inside the tent. You have the first action. What would you like to do?
he will run in a bit and start ushering people away.
Okay. There's maybe 20, 30 people inside as you kind of, start moving your arms in a, get over here sort of manner. They're very quick to acquiesce as they see this large monstrosity, its horns almost poking through what's left of the canopy top, kind of tearing back and forth. They are definitely going to acquiesce to you. All right. That brings us to Vic. You're a little distant as you're kind of moving maybe the last body that you had there with the kind of the two strong men. They just kind of turn their heads and look over towards the tent. As you kind of look up to see what they're doing, what they're looking at, you can see some people kind of fleeing outside of the tent. You can see part of it shifting back and forth and something protruding out of it. What would you like to do?
Just let out an exasperated sigh and mutter to myself, "Not even a moment's peace."
Nothing done.
Turn to the other two and say, "You can handle this, right? I think I've got business inside."
They kind of nod to you.
Alright, and with my last 4th level spell slot, I am polymorphing back into a giant ape again and charging in.
All right. I unfortunately don't have an ape icon.
I think I've seen that kaiju movie.
So feel free to do your movement. We'll adjust it later. I don't know if you can make it all the way unless you dash.
They've got 40 feet, but yeah, I'd probably
Yeah, you'll be
still have
about
to
10
dash.
foot short. So that
Yeah, I'll
brings
dash
us
over there.
to...
I'm going headlong in.
Okay. That brings us to Valderin.
After,
Yes.
real quick, Taylor moved in a little closer as
Sure.
well.
Nope. No problem. As you see some of the people kind of moving out, you take the opportunity to kind of move forward a little bit.
Since Valderin joined the party late, would he know of this big boy?
They definitely would have been talking about him for sure.
Would he be able to put 2 and 2 together and assume that this is the giant that has been...
This is the only thing that you've seen that's been larger than man size that has not been a dragon or Kosui. So yeah, I think you're smart enough.
Okay.
What would you like to do?
Well... What trying to think here. Alright, so Valderin will cast Guiding Bolt at the beast.
Okay. He should be targetable.
Okay.
So it rolled twice, but the result is the same as you point your finger. Maybe you're just in a little bit of a shock from seeing this 3-foot nothing gnome turn into this 20-some foot monstrosity before your eyes. as your hand maybe quivers for just a moment. The bolt just, there was no power behind it. It just kind of strikes into him and fizzles off.
Ooh. All right. He will, yeah, that'll be it then.
Okay. About this time, Phaley and Caspian are starting to kind of head back from their excursion out in the city, trying to help people. Caspian, in his normal fashion, is just kind of yapping away. Phaley only paying partial attention with that short goblin attention span. Caspian's just yapping away. Phaley, you're the first one to react as you hear all the commotion going on inside the tent. You can hear people screaming, yelling, running, loose profanities, giant. What would you like to do?
Well, she's gonna go run headfirst into it, of course.
Damn right. Go ahead.
I can't remember how far I can run. Isn't it like something like 60 feet or something bananas?
You have movement speed of...
I think it's 45.
Is it 45?
It should say in your main page, next to your initiative.
45.
Yes,
You're
45.
right.
Oh yeah, you can definitely make it there. As you come in, you can see Volderin kind of squaring off. He's got his hand pointed at the chest, roughly, of this large creature, and his other hand gripping tightly his holy symbol. As you kind of charge in, what would you like to do?
I'd like to throw my javelin at it.
Okay. It is targetable. 26 will strike. Roll damage. And I do have it hidden. Okay. You throw your javelin at it. And for a second, you think back to the fight with the dragon as the javelin strikes into this creature. You know that you had some power and strength behind it. It strikes into his thigh. It does not stick. It just falls to the floor. He doesn't even look at you. Do you have another attack? Or would you like to do something?
Can I disengage?
That would be in an action, and you've already attacked. So the only...
Fuck. Okay, I'll just attack again.
She can,
Yeah.
She can do it as a bonus.
Oh,
as a
that's
goblin.
right. As a goblin, you certainly can.
Okay.
Well, son of a...
I'll disengage and scoot and
Okay. Yep. And then you can move however you wish. And that brings us to Broody McBruderson. Volderin,
Yes.
he looks at you.
Medicine.
He brings his hands, his meaty paws, down to the ground, like between his legs. He grabs knuckle and knuckle, and he brings his fists straight up to try to strike you. Now, what I need you to do is you can make an athletics check or an acrobatics check.
I'm pretty sure. Okay. I'm going to do athletics. Because I have a better chance of actually passing that.
Okay.
Or not.
Okay. I rolled surprisingly low, but not as low as you did.
He threw out his hip fighting the Balor.
So, here's kind of what happened. Oh, awesome. Things you don't want the DM to say. What was that number?
It was a 4. Oh God.
He brings his fist up. He just cracks you. It's mostly under the jaw. 18 points of damage as you just go flying up through the canopy and land on the ground. The air kind of leaves your body. He reaches up, grabs hold of one of the tent poles. Caspian, is your turn. As you kind of are yapping away, you notice Phaley had just taken off like a rocket. You no more and look in that direction, and is that Valderin flying through the air?
Yeah, I was gonna say he just like bit the dust at the edge of the tent.
What would you like to do?
I guess I'll bonus action sprint with a cunning and try and get up to Volder.
Okay. You huff it over there.
He'll come running out, try and help Voldurin up from his trough he's dug in the ground and be like, "You alright there, old man?"
You can reply if you want, Volder. I think he does not want to. Oh, he might be AFK. Oh, he's back.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
What was the question?
He asks if you are all right, old man, as Caspian runs up to you.
I'm about all right as I can be for this hell of a day.
He'll help him stand up and kind of brush him off and say, "What's going on now? I thought the dragon left."
Well, that gnome we brought back turned into a big giant fuck-off thing. Sent me flying through the tent.
You can see the dent in his breastplate.
Well, stay here and catch your breath. And then he'll start heading towards the hole in the tent now, I guess.
No problem. We're going to say that you used your action and you were pretty vocal about it. You helped Volderin to your feet. You don't have to use half your movement to stand up next time.
Please tell me that the hole in the tent is actually just a perfectly Volderin-sized hole.
Well, let's roll for it. No, it's not, but it's pretty close.
Just like the silhouette.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so awesome. Kaylin, it is now your turn.
Okay. Bonus action Hunter's Market.
All right.
And then I will make my 2 attacks.
Strike.
And do I get sneak attack on this?
I will say, because in this instance, he has no focus on you whatsoever. Yes.
Okay. Hunter's Mark.
Okay, so you pull back on your bow. It flies true. It strikes him, maybe somewhere in the side there, kind of next to his belly. You can see it dig in ever so slightly but not enough momentum for it to actually stick. It hangs there for a moment and then falls to the ground.
Second attack.
Looking at this creature, seeing the arrow, expecting it to dive deep in, it just kind of takes your focus for just a second, and you just send it wide. How you can miss such a large target? Your mind was just preoccupied. Anything else?
I think that's it.
Okay. Vic, it is now your turn. Vic the Ape.
Indeed. Vic the Ape is going to go ahead and just, as gracefully as one can when they are huge-sized, try to slip underneath the tent so as not to do significantly more damage than has already been done. And I am going to tap this thing on the shoulder to draw its attention, and as soon as it starts to turn to look at me, I'm going to cold cock him right in the face.
Left turn, Clyde. All right. Any which way would loose. All right, let's do this.
Ooh, that's no good.
You
though.
didn't target him, but it's still...
Oh, yeah.
So you swing as you were expecting him to turn around from being tapped. He doesn't even turn, so you swing in that open kind of air. Miss.
All right. Well, since he hasn't turned yet, I'm gonna go for a kidney punch instead.
All right.
Still no good.
Still no good. As you go, you try to make contact with him. It's just like it's like whatever you're punching, it's just there's no give. You might as well be punching a brick wall.
And that's gonna be it. I'm just gonna maneuver around it so I'm
Sure.
not in between the tent and...
Understood. Volderin, you've picked yourself up. You're probably a little... What would you like to do?
Just a wee bit.
Or did you want back one, Vic?
Well, I'm huge size anyway, so it's kind of... That whole space is basically me.
Yeah, that's not gonna work. Alright,
Is that better?
That's fine.
Alright. Well, not one to be knocked out of a fight by something as simple as that. Valdurin's gonna charge back in.
All right.
And he will cast Booming Blade. So first, weapon attack.
Oh, you strike?
Alright. And he will also add...
You're not targeting him right now.
Thank you.
He
will
is-
also add his Divine Strike onto this one as well.
He is targeting. I have the results turned off. I can turn it on though.
He is now. He actually wasn't. Good.
Okay. So you do your booming blade, and you can see the thunder kind of roll around him. He seems slightly affected.
Okay. Valdurin will cast a spiritual. He will put it Let's put it right in front of Kaladin there.
Okay.
Okay. And
Marked with the ampersand. Oh. 15 will not strike him.
That'll be it for Voldrin.
Okay. That brings us to Bailey.
Am I able to... Yeah. I'm gonna go around the group here over to the side.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna deck him with my Morning Star.
Nice. Gonna rage. Not targeting, but you did hit.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I had kind of made him disappear, so that's my fault. Alright, so magic piercing. You swing your mace. It looks like you hit yourself. You didn't. Okay. You swing your mace and you kind of hit it into his skin. But again, it's almost like hitting this sort of brick wall. You're just not connecting. There's something about this beast. Would you like to make another attack?
Yeah, I'll go for it.
Just kind of the shock. First your javelin, now your mace too. How can we even hurt this guy? All that's going through your head as you whiff. Anything else?
No, sir.
All right. It is now Heed's turn. He, of course, had grabbed hold of the central mass, that pole there. He...
Board. Heed and seek.
As he grabs hold of the center mass and just tries to shove it down in the ground. At the same time, he does a mighty leap. The tent goes with him. As you can hear the poles outside, like the metal and wooden stakes that have it kind of pounded into the ground, just start to pull out of the ground as you see this tent go flying about 150 feet into the air. Not straight up. To the west. I'm going to bring us out of combat for just a second. It's up to you guys if you want to chase after him or not.
Vic definitely is.
Okay. So, if you chase after him, you'll see a view for a little bit longer. Those who kind of stay to help pick up the pieces, you'll quickly see for at least 3 or 4 more hops. You see this bounding circus tent, almost hopping, floating across the city before it just kind of breaks away, gets caught in the wind, and flies off. Vic, you have a broom, correct? Is that what you're following on?
Yes, but it is inside my form right now.
Oh.
Unless I polymorph back out, so I am just chasing in ape form at the moment.
That just works out the best, because DM laughs in DM. As you try to chase it down just the best that you can, and it just leaps and bounds. It's just too great a speed for you to keep up. It kind of bounds. You know roughly where it's headed. It heads west, and then it kind of starts to curve north. North and vertical. Up to the Noble District.
He's heading back to his lab.
Yeah. Even with a 7 intelligence, I've had enough suspicion about him beforehand that I'm pretty sure this is him.
7 is definitely not stupid.
Yeah. I will try to cut him off at the pass if I know where he's going.
Hey.
What's the rest of the party doing?
How far away is he right now?
It's a good distance away.
Oh, further than 120 feet?
Oh, yeah. Again, unless you have multiple units that you can move 150 plus in a round,
Gotcha.
he's going to get away. Because nobody has any means of physically stopping him. So, Vic's going to do her best to track him down. You guys, perhaps I don't need to use Cluebat, but several times you know that a lot of your weapons were very ineffective against him.
So we just have to kill him in gnome form, obviously.
Murder. Is that the plan? Wait till he kind of stake out the place until he turns back?
Just wait for him to sleep and toss Stormbearer at him. Suddenly hammer. What?
Could be a Reddit thread. Suddenly hammer.
So, I would love to let Sunny know, but we can't go back to Vampire Land without being the murderer.
That's true, you can't. If only you could send a proxy.
Hey kid, wanna earn a quick gold?
Oh my god.
Gold? No, it's just a nib.
I'm just one nib.
In fact, go find that same nib guy again.
He's not trustworthy. I can't trust him with that nib.
I will do it for
Weird,
one
man.
chicken nugger.
One chicken nugget.
Well, I think some of us that are more ground bound are going to try and clean up our now tentless circus a bit, but then head after.
Valdurin's going to quickly and immediately try and get that dent out of his breastplate. It's very important that not be there.
That's fine. He did like a reverse haymaker on you. Him strong, yes?
Him very strong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, you guys pick up the pieces, head back, and you guys are all headed to his estate. Is that correct?
I would very much like to put a buffer in between these fights, as Valdurin is tired and old, and he cannot continuously fight big fight after big fight after big fight.
Okay, so it sounds like we might have to put it to a vote, because some people are ready to go after him, some people are not. Do we split the party?
Well,
Crickets.
Other than Vic, was anyone immediately heading after him, or were the rest of us pretty?
Killer would have gone. We'd cast again Longstride at second level on him and Valdurin, and then just immediately start going.
Okay.
So put him at a speed at 45 with his movement, action, dash. That gets him pretty fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that puts you at about 90. Is that right? Oh, do you have dash as well? Yeah. So your
Yeah, I have
movement and
cunning
dash.
action, so that's 145.
Oh yeah, you can almost keep up with this guy.
I think Caspian is more interested in cleaning up, and he'll probably keep an eye on his winded grandpa friend.
Okay.
Failure will probably stay with Caspian.
Okay, so split the party.
What could go wrong?
I mean, we know where he lives. It's not a mystery anymore.
You do, but you also know that he knows that you know.
And
But does he know that we know that he knows that we know?
Who knows?
And does the window know that we know that he knows it's a window?
From the window to the wall?
The important thing is that the Shadow knows, and the Shadow is in reality Lamont Cranston, wealthy young man about town.
Hmm. So let's deal with the party that's giving chase. So Great Ape is kind of trying to move through the city the best that she can, just assuming it's a female ape at this point, because Vic just kind of gliding through the best, and like a bolt of lightning just weaving through Kalen, and is just miles and bounds ahead of this ape, kind of moving through the city. You can see the creature just hopping, leaping, doesn't even have to take the lift up, just kind of bounds up the mountain, which is of course going to give him a little bit of a head start. You presume that it is heading towards its lair, its multi-million-dollar mansion. You guys get up to the area where the mansion is, and you see the devastation. You can see fire has rent half of the estate, the other half burning. Flipping back to the other party. Of course, Valderin is kind of bitching about his dented breastplate. Balian and Caspian trying to pick up the pieces. As you guys are kind of looking around the area, there's no tent, but there's this odd, almost pool of silver. Some silvery-like substance. It's almost like a morning dew, kind of covering the ground, roughly in that northeast corner where Valderin and the professor once sat.
Well, I think I'm going to investigate that.
Okay.
See if it's flammable first thing.
Oh, Azur, you're crazy. It's hilarious.
So what'd I
Investigate.
do?
Oh, that's not going to be super good, but okay.
That's not super terrible. So you kind of you of course test to see if it's flammable. It doesn't seem like it. Not flammable more than anything else really. It kind of bubbles and hisses a little bit, but I mean it doesn't just catch fire and burn. If you kind of roll it in your fingers, it's quite viscous actually. It's rather thick. Thicker than it would appear.
And so does it smell or feel like actual silver, or is it just something else?
It's not silver. You kind of smell. You're not quite sure where you have smelled something like this before. roll wasn't good enough. But it does have a specific smell.
It's not liquid metal, though.
It reminds you of it, but it's not. So you've seen weapons being forged and that sort of thing. It doesn't really remind you of that.
Gotcha.
It reminds you, the closest thing that you can think of is, you've drank some healing tonics and potions. Nothing quite as viscous as this, but that's kind of what it reminds you of.
It's a very medicinal kind of property.
Mm-hmm. And of course, Valderin can attest that where that liquid came from. What would you guys like to do?
Well, assuming that nothing else attacks the place, whenever you feel up to it, Voldorm, we should probably chase after our brazen companion.
Yes. Probably for the best. Shouldn't leave him alone.
Okay. As you guys head that way, I'm going to flip back over to the other party. Vic, how long does your ape form last?
1 hour, so I've got a good while on it.
Okay. Yeah, you're definitely kind of an ape. Kaladin, of course, you will make it there much quicker. As you kind of investigate, I want you to make me a perception check. That is a good roll. So as you kind of gawking through, remember, half the building is roughly gone. You can see into the area where you had been in before. There were a lot of tomes and books and all sorts of weird sciencey stuff, I guess is the best way to put it. You don't see this large creature, but you do see someone kind of rummaging through things. Looks like the butler.
I do still have Hunter's Mark up, so I'll know if that would help me with knowing where the giant would be exactly.
Can you drop that card? Or I guess I can look it up. I think you'd be able to drag it if you can. Thank you. Just refresh myself with it. You choose. So your hunter's mark, just we're gonna kind of lend this into a bit of your intuition, so to speak. You don't feel that your quarry is close at hand, as you were kind of trying to track him by way here. And if you like, you can make me a survival to follow a kind of a trail, since it's at a dead end here. Let's go ahead and deal with that. It is survival, right? They didn't change that, did they?
Yeah, survival.
Okay.
I think the spell gives me advantage.
Okay. Definitely needed the advantage there. You tracked him roughly to this location, you do know that it never made it quite this far. Well, let me rephrase that. It made it to this point and then decided to move further up the mountain. Whether it headed towards the Tenyo or to swing around out of sight, out of mind, lay low, you're uncertain. You could certainly continue to track him, though, again, it would be mountain sort of venture unless it's at the Tenyo's place. That is something that you could certainly investigate. So I think we took care of that. Your hunter's mark says that it is nowhere. We're just going to say kind of in that feel zone. You know what I mean? Like you kind of get that sense that what you're looking for is around. You don't really have that. I can't really quantify that, so to speak.
Yeah.
But you do see, again, the butler is kind of rummaging through some things. The house was mostly on fire. It's a little odd that only half of the building burnt down. It's like the fire just stopped at a certain point. And we'll let you pick up from there.
I'm assuming the part of the building that burnt down wasn't the lab area.
That is correct. The part that is still standing is the lab area. Lab/library. Library.
Guess Kayla will move in and towards the butler.
Okay.
Definitely staying cautious to see if he sees the giant anywhere.
Are you trying to kind of sneak around, not to be noticed? Is that?
Like half sneak, half try and be obvious so he doesn't spook the butler.
Okay. So if you can move in with stealth, so be it. But why don't you just make me a stealth roll and we'll just go from there. Okay, not bad. So you're kind of approaching. You don't think that he's seen you. He appears to be kind of going through some of the, I don't know, the beakers and such. He seems to be kind of looking at some, setting them down on certain tables. And then he'll grab some and he'll kind of stick it in like a little, like a messenger bag is kind of what he has. You can see the messenger bag is quite full already, though you can't tell exactly what is in it. But some of these beakers, think of like the small kind of vials that fit in the, I don't know, the half-inch round holes. I'm not good with the science thing, but I think you guys get the point. He's kind of going through this for a few minutes, and then something gets his attention. The same thing that gets your attention. The sound of a large ape kind of approaching. You can hear the swinging and the kind of the grunting, and as you kind of duck around, you don't think the ape has seen you, and you don't think, at least, that the butler has seen you. But has the butler seen the ape? Okay.
Very surprised if it didn't.
Oh my. Okay. So as the ape approaches, the butler stops what he's doing and kind of moves through a door on the other side, opposite of where you are. So putting a room in between you two.
Do I see the butler?
You may make me a perception check.
Double check its stats real quick. I do not.
Okay. And you definitely don't see Kaladin. You just see partially burned down estate, half of it still standing, and empty air. What do you do, Grape Ape?
I mean, at this point, figuring, because I have no idea that he's potentially already come and gone, so I am just going to head into that lab area and just start looking around for any sign of him or any sign of things that he might have wanted, potions that he might have been coming to get.
Okay. Kaladin, what do you do? It doesn't appear that this large ape sees you, notices your presence.
I'm going for the butler.
Okay. You kind of, the ape kind of moves into this room, and you take this opportunity to kind of sneak and stealth around it. The ape is just kind of looking through to the best of its abilities on what is here, and you kind of slink around different areas and kind of move over into that other room. You open the door. It's a small hallway. And at the other end, you no more than kind of open, obviously you're trying to be stealthy. You open that door, kind of look through, look back, make sure nobody kind of sees you. You can see the butler at the end of the hall, maybe 20, 30 foot, is going into another room.
Like, is he in the process of opening the door right now?
Yeah, like he's opening the door and stepping through. You don't think he notices you.
I'll continue to follow.
Okay. You walk through the next door. Make me one more stealth roll.
And can I also put my hood up so I have my Cloak of Elvenkind
You
activated?
absolutely can.
Okay, so I'll have advantage and they have disadvantage on perception to see me.
Disadvantage, taking the lower. Okay. You see him in this room. It appears to be a study. He's kind of taking things. He kind of walks over to a small table. He takes this kind of knapsack off, sets it down very gently on the table. He kind of walks over to there's a fireplace, and you can see he grabs hold of one of the candelabras and twists it a little to the left. He walks over. There's another candelabra. He grabs it, turns it a bit to the left. The fireplace kind of whooshes up. You hear a clicking sound, not from the direction of the fireplace, on the wall across the way. He looks over at it. The wall kind of separates and parts out. He picks up the haversack and he heads over to the